gosh, look at my head, it's really, really big, and my head is really, really small. Okay, yeah, I've gone off the deep end. I'm trying to make up for the video I did this morning, which was incredibly, oh my gosh, I put myself to sleep trying to watch this stupid thing. I'm this close to deleting it, seriously, because it is so, I sound like I'm stoned out of my mind. That's the one of several drawbacks to taking antidepressants. They tend to make you, even now I can hear it in my voice. I kind of talk like a little slurred. No, this is not. I hear it when I play the video back. I hear it. It's like, but on the other hand, it makes me very relaxed in front of the camera, which is probably good, I suppose. This is another video. I did a second video when I got home from work, directed at the guy who's been writing these emails. I've been trying really hard to not read them because I know they're just gonna completely piss me off. But I thought, and what's his name? Dark Viper. If you look up Dark Viper's channel and check out the video, I think it's called The Representative of Jesus Christ. That is the same person that's been writing to me. And I just, the funny thing about this particular kind of, I don't want to say kind, but there are Christians out there that have a real hard time imagining a reality without their God. Imagining, even for a second, there is no God and there's no Jesus. When I was gradually becoming aware and more aware that this was all just bullshit, it actually was difficult. The very first day that the epiphany crossed my mind that there's no God. I mean, it's like a gradual thing, and then one day it just falls into place and you realize it's a lie. It's all a lie. It was really weird for me to say, for the first couple times, it was weird for me to say, there's no such thing as God. There's no God. It's weird. I mean, after almost 50, well, okay, I don't know, 45, let's see, I'm trying to know, about 35 years of being a Christian. And just taking it as a given that it's all true and that Jesus is real and God is real, and never questioning it, never even, just assuming everything that I've been told is true. And the placebo effect that, this is the part that I have against Christianity more than anything, I think, is they tell you, okay, when you accept Jesus into your heart, certain things will happen. It'll change your life. It'll change who you are. There will be life-changing things that happen. And then it's like, I personally think you bring it about yourself. Whatever change happens to you, it's self-induced. Either it's like taking a placebo and truly believing that your pain will go away, and then it does, because your mind is that powerful. It has that much power over your body that a placebo can make your pain go away because you believe so strongly that it's a pain medication that you're taking and not a sugar pill. I think partly that's what happens when you convert. You accept Jesus in your heart, you're going to have this and this and this happen. You're going to feel all this, and that really happens. That whole experience really happens, the initial euphoria that you get. And again, it's a placebo. You believe so much that it's going to happen that it happens. Or it's like the same thing as when you're at a football game or a rock concert. The fervor of the crowd just gets you, you get caught up in it, and the next thing you know, you've got tears streaming down your face, or you're screaming at the top of your lungs. There's a word for this phenomenon, but it can be reproduced by many things. And the two things that I'm remembering reading was football or sports events and rock concerts. But anyway, But then the rest of it, the whole life-changing stuff that's supposed to happen when you become a Christian, I believe that that's something that the person actually does themselves. And they bring it on themselves. Because when I ceased to be a Christian, that didn't all unravel. I didn't suddenly go back to what I used to be. I'm still the same. I'm still just as, you know, I still feel all the same things inside for my fellow man. I still feel compassion and empathy and love for other people. I am still just as... Anyway, I wanted to get into this guy's emails, but I wanted to point out that what bothers me the most about this kind of mentality is the attitude that this is all true. It's like if I started to say that there were pink unicorns, or that I had a pink unicorn, and I was telling my friend about this, and they were showing disbelief that I had a pink unicorn, would I continue to get on their case about their disbelief? And you know, that's really not good for you, and you're not going to be happy in the long run if you continue to disbelieve that there are pink unicorns. Or would I instead bring forth my evidence to show, okay, you really need to believe this. This is important. You really need to believe. Before I say another word and try to declare that the pink unicorn's existence is fact, I would first need to put forth some effort to make the other person agree and realize that there is truth in what I'm saying, and that I'm not just talking about a fictional make-believe thing. I'd have to bring forth the pink unicorn. I'd have to take the person in the backyard and show them the pink unicorn, or whistle and, you know, whistle my special whistle, and the pink unicorn would appear. It would be up to me to dispel any doubts that the other person has, rather than just go on and completely ignore their disbelief, disregard it like it's not a consideration, just basically walk right over it and just continue on blathering about what a great time I had the other day riding my pink unicorn around, and you really need to believe in my pink unicorn too, so you can be happy. And if you don't believe in my pink unicorn, you're never going to be happy in your life. I mean, no. You have to show me proof first before you can say those kinds of things. So with that, the problem with reading this is the thing that I'm reading is down here and this is up here. And anyway, this guy writes me several long emails, and I'm trying to, I'm trying not to read them because they're really, the attitude, all the things that rub me the wrong way about Christianity and Christians who just assume that their way is true and that everything that they've been raised to think is true. And they pity anybody who doesn't believe what they believe. And they think it's impossible for anybody to be happy unless they believe what they believe. And it's just, that whole attitude is like sickening to me. This is what this guy writes. This is one that I just read today, and I just have to read this. I'm going to read it straight through because if I make comments, this will be a really long video. Yes, okay. Come down here, because I don't, okay. There, I don't like looking up and then looking down. Okay. It is not rude or patronizing to tell you that I am praying for you. Please do not, I'm trying to see what this camera is doing. Please do not be angry at someone who is not preaching at you, who is not condemning you for rejecting Jesus. I have to interject this one point. If you believed in Santa Claus and then you were sufficiently convinced that there is no such thing as Santa Claus, would people around you say, how come you reject Santa Claus? Rejecting is, you have to we have to establish that this thing exists before it's possible to reject that thing. You can't say, oh, so-and-so rejects Santa Claus, because Santa doesn't exist. You can say so-and-so rejects their lima beans on their plate. That actually makes sense, but you cannot reject something that is whether their existence is even real. It's a huge, I can't talk now. It's a huge question. Okay. You have not been an atheist that long. I don't think you understand the depths of despair that atheism will give you in the end. And as for praying for you, well, I will continue even though I won't email you about it again. You see, I believe that Jesus wants to not only save you for eternity, but he wants a relationship with you now. You can huff and puff and blow me off, but underneath your anger is a child who has been hurt and thrown around and beaten up, who needs her father to wrap his arms around her and restore her. For all your bravado, I know that atheism cannot make you happy. It may push the idea of God and sin out of your mind for a while, but it cannot bring you happiness. You are happy that your life in the end is meaningless and that you have nothing to look forward to but aging and death. No, you may be relieved not to have to live under the burden of that false kind of Christianity which sucked the life out of you, but you have not experienced the true joy of a life in Christ. It is no wonder you turned away. I'll leave you alone, but I will continue to ask God to overwhelm you with his love, and I ask God to break through whatever walls you have put up. May he melt your heart with his mercy and grace. I wish the best for you. Okay, so we're going to put this back up here now, since I've stopped reading. Hello. Okay, so I have now read the letter. I only interjected one comment, which is really amazingly good for me because I have no self-control. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so let's see. What does he say? Again, I don't think it's possible to reject something that hasn't been proven to exist. I don't reject Santa Claus, and those two words, even saying the phrase reject Santa Claus sounds totally absurd, doesn't it? Well, what is any different about saying reject Jesus? I don't reject Jesus. I don't believe that such a person exists. And I mean both spiritually and physically. I don't believe that this entity exists. I think it's made up. I think it's as made up as all the other sun god religions that have come along. It's just the most recent one. Have not been I will, the depths of despair that atheism will give you in the end. I'd like to know how this guy thinks that I will have depths of despair for not believing in his beliefs. You know? So far I've had more happiness, and this continues to get more and more. Every year I feel a little bit more like I used to feel before my life went to hell. I used to be a joker. I used to love to tell jokes. I used to love to be silly and goofy and lighthearted. And I mean, you've seen glimpses of that in some of my videos. That's how I used to be 24/7 when I was younger. Ask any of my friends that I had when I was younger. I used to be very wild and of free spirit and untamable. You know, I didn't let it get me down. And that's been basically crushed, you know. And then he says that I will, atheism cannot make you happy. First of all, it's just, I can't believe in something anymore. It's not like I've just put on, like I said in the other video, which is so incredibly boring you'll fall asleep trying to listen to it. It's not like I just put on a coat. Oh, I think I'll wear this coat now. I think I'll put the atheism coat on. I don't have a choice. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it anymore. I have heard and read and seen and experienced too many things to ever think that is an actual, that any of it's true. I'm sorry. There's nothing to show it's true. It's all a placebo. It's all mind tricks. And then the funnest, that's a word. The funnest part about, I said it again, I should say the most, I think, damaging part of probably any religion, but Christianity is what I'm familiar with, is the feeling like you have to keep it up. You have to keep it up. You have to, if you, it's like the feeling like you can never be good enough. You can never, if something's going wrong in your life, it's your fault because you're not close enough to God, or you're not praying enough, or you're not doing something enough. It's all on you. It's all your fault. The part about this, oh God, is a child who's been hurt and thrown around and beaten up, who needs her father to wrap his arms around her and restore her. I needed my dad when I was a kid desperately. I needed somebody, some adult, to be able to recognize what was happening to me and basically take me away from that environment. I needed that desperately. And the times that I did go to my mom and try to express to her my distress and my need for rescue, to be taken away. I mean, my brother was beating me up and trashing my room, and my mother's supposed to protect me. That's what I thought. And every time I went to my mom, it was always the same thing. Oh, you need to take it to God. You need to pray. Well, guess what I did? I took it to God. I prayed. I called out for help. Just like all the people in the world that have called out to help in times of great need. And that help didn't come. Just like all the people in the world who are starving to death or being raped or killed horribly, and they're crying out to God, and that help doesn't come. Ever. You know why? It's because it's not real. It's because it doesn't exist. And I can't even get mad because it doesn't exist. I can't say, you let me down, because it doesn't exist. And that's the thing, that I'm happier now than I have been in a long time, because I'm slowly finding self-love. I'm slowly to the point where I enjoy being by myself. I actually enjoy it. I actually look forward to coming home and being by myself. And I don't miss having the constant feeling like I have to try and try and try to have people that I look up to and like and really enjoy being around like me back. See that I'm worth being friends with. I'm so tired of trying to jump through hoops or be whatever I need to be to get people that I like to like me back, or think I'm worth it, or want to stand by me when I'm down. I don't miss not having that anymore. I don't miss the whole having to try. And I did that with God too. Try to be good enough that maybe I might be, something might happen and change my situation and the nightmare would end. Well, it never did. The point is, what is leading me currently to happiness every year, just a little bit more happiness, is not just atheism or the lack of belief in things that I am methodically taking away from myself all the delusion that I have clung to. I've had delusions that if I'm good enough, my mom will love me. I've had delusions that if I was a good enough devout friend to a certain Tim Kelly that I cared for in my house, if I was a good enough friend, if I was there enough for him, he would realize that I was worth having as a friend. He told me one time that his definition of friend was different than mine. His definition of friend is somebody who's been there for a long, long time. And I was new on the scene, and he couldn't think of me as a friend. And I just saw this guy who had been so nice to me, and I just wanted to be his friend so bad. And I was willing to do anything and everything to try to be the best damn friend I could be. And he let me have this delusion that we were friends. That you have enough rude awakenings, and you start to realize that delusions are really, really crappy to have. They might offer you a little bit of comfort and peace for a while, but then one day the epiphany hits that it's not real. The thing with the bartender, not real. You know, the pretend friendship, the pretending to care to try to get me to tell him about how lonely I was, and then using that and targeting me and basically ruining my life, or at least ruining for me the... I need to get away from people who who let me think things that are not true and let me go on like you think it's like they think the ground is solid and you think you can count on the ground when you put your feet on it, and you find out it's quicksand and you get screwed. You realize that everything that you thought was real, your reality, everything that you counted on and thought you could count on isn't real. It's all been false. It's all been make-believe. People have been playing a game and thinking that, oh, isn't this funny? This poor pathetic person thinks that somebody like I could ever be her friend. You know, it really hurts. And so for the need for my own sanity, for my own peace of mind, I had to learn to start listening to the little voice inside of me that was telling me something isn't right here, something isn't right here. Because I ignored that little voice when this guy was living with me and things weren't quite right. You know, it's like, sometimes he seemed like he cared and was my friend. Other times it seemed like there was hidden contempt on him. The same with this bartender. And I ignored it. I made excuses. Oh, well, he's sick. He's not feeling well. That's why he's treating me this way. Or whatever. Maybe the bartender's treating me this way because somebody's watching and he's, you know, trying to cover. I don't know. I had all these excuses and I ignored the little voice. And the same thing happened with religion. I went years and years and years with that little voice inside tugging at me. Something isn't right. Something isn't right. And I ignored it. Well, the thing that I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years, 3, 4, 5 years, is to stop ignoring the little voice, to really listen to the little voice, to pay it heed, to give it consideration, to think on my own. And it's been really painful for me. It's been painful to have to realize it's things that I really cherished, that friendships that I treasured and people that I cared for deeply weren't real. They were playing a game. They were fake. They were using me. Well, the same is with religion. I made up my own religion because I didn't think Christianity sounded right. I made up my own version of Christianity so I could continue to be a Christian, because the Christianity in the Bible and the Christianity that some people discussed with me didn't seem right. This guy's like talking about, oh, if you just experience the real Christianity. You know what? I lived at a Bible camp for 3 years, and I was part of a very loving and warm Christian community for 3 years at Camp Sambika. And I'm pretty sure that I've experienced real Christianity. It was what was going on in my head. It was the contradictions in the Bible. It was the mixed messages. Why would God make women inferior to men? What God would make 50% of the human race inferior to the other 50% of the race? You know, that really sounds like something man-made to me. Well, if a bunch of men were going to invent a religion that gave them the upper hand over the women that they have to live with and coexist with, what would be one of the first things that they would put into their new religion that they're inventing? That women need to be silent and ask their husbands and not speak in church and obey and submit and blah, 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 blah. And that you can kill them if they're not virgins on their wedding night. Anyway, this is getting to be long, so I want to end it too. But this letter, I don't like the fact that this guy assumes things. He has no idea who I am. He has no idea how much... Atheism for me is like a light in a dark that has been oppressing me my whole life. And for the first time in my whole life, I actually enjoy my own company. I enjoy being alone. And that's huge. So Do I think I'll be happy on this road? Do you think that oh, and the other thing, I don't look forward to old age and death. I accept it. I embrace it. That's part of life. Death is just going to sleep. Old age, it's another adventure. You know, I'm sorry, but if you're going to dread half your life because you don't want to be old, we might as well all die before we turn 40. I don't like being older. I don't like the fact that I'm stiff. My joints ache. I definitely get tired faster. You know, I'm getting old. I look at myself in my videos and I'm like, holy shit, I don't even hardly recognize myself anymore. Well, it doesn't help that I've gained weight either. So anyway, I would rather look forward to what time I have left and live my life fully than think, oh, well, this is all just temporary and the good stuff is yet to come after I die, and then die and cease to exist. What a waste. I want to live every moment I can and continue to work toward learning to love myself. I feel like I'm to the point now where I actually like myself. And, you know, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I feel like these people that I care about, I deserve people who care for me. And I'm sorry for them if I showed them the best I have in my heart. And if it wasn't enough to make any impression on them, well, then I think there's something wrong with them. So, and this person, I'm sorry that, you know, this is getting long, but you don't know me, and you don't have any idea what you're talking about. Your Jesus isn't real, and, you know, you shouldn't belittle my life just because it's not the same as your life, or my experiences just because they're not the same as your experience. There is no such thing as Jesus. I don't want to have an imaginary friend. I don't want to be calling out to something that doesn't exist because there aren't any actual real people that give a damn. I would rather just be alone and have that reality that I'm alone and learn how to live with that. And if something happens down the road that changes, and maybe I meet somebody who can actually see me as a valuable human being and worth standing by and showing a little real support to, yay. But I'm not going to hold my breath, and I'm not going to call out to imaginary people to use that little placebo to feel better, because that's all it is. So, okay, really long video again, but at least it's not as boring as the other one. So thanks for listening. Bye.